I'm sharing my screen. Let me know once you are able to see. Can confirm if you are able to see my screen.
Yes, Kalyan.
Okay, thank you. So in our previous session, we have seen what is this SailPoint IIQ tool is actually. We have gone through the definition of SailPoint IIQ, and we got to know that it's an identity and access management solution, and it is offered by a company called SailPoint. And this tool we basically use to solve some of the IAM problems. And as a part of this, we have also gone through what do we mean by identity, and what do we mean by access, and what do we mean by the management as well. So to give a short overview of it, whenever we say identity, it means we refer to all the persons like who work for the organization, and the persons could be either the employees or the contractors, vendors, or students who will be part of internship. So we refer all such people as identity, and this is one category. And apart from that, we have some non-human identities also working for the organization, like chatbot, service accounts, and some automation tools, etc. So all of these completely together we call as identity. And when we say access, it means the permission we have to a particular application. And when we say access, we don't just mean by the permission for an application, we also mean by the level of permission in that particular application. Okay, so it could be the admin permissions, or it could be the read-only permissions, anything. Those covers the level of permissions. So that's what we mean by access. So when we say identity and access management, we basically create the digital entries. If we basically create the records of the identities, we modify them, we disable those accounts, we enable those accounts, we call this as identity management. Similarly, when we say access management, we will give access to certain people, we'll modify access, we'll also remove the access. All such operations are covered under access management. So basically, when with SailPoint IAQ tool, we are going to perform all of these activities. Means we'll create identity, we'll provide access to that particular identity to an application. We can modify the access of that particular user in that application. We can remove it. We can disable the identity. We can enable the identity, everything. So we basically perform all of these activities using our SailPoint IAQ tool. Okay. And we also mentioned we will solve some enterprise IAM problems, right? Now let's understand what is IAM. Okay. And once we understand what is this IAM, then we'll see what are the problems that this IAM domain is facing. And later on, we'll see how we are going to solve these problems. Okay. So IAM, what is IAM? Any idea? Anyone? As per your understanding, what is your understanding of IAM?
To manage all the digital accounts by using a different provisioning tools,
Okay.
and also auditing, and to manage the data according to the compliance.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Got it. See, when we take the full form of IAM, it's called Identity and Access Management. Identity and Access Management. Okay, so this is full form of IAM. So this IAM is one of the domains of cybersecurity. When we take the cybersecurity domain, we have like around 8+ subdomains. Okay, so this is part of a security branch that works for any organization. So in this cybersecurity domain, we basically have multiple subdomains. For example, you might have heard about VAPT. It's called vulnerability and penetration testing. Okay, so vulnerability assessment and penetration testing basically. It means they basically test our application in order to exploit any loopholes. So they basically use certain tools and certain techniques to test any application to make sure that no one can enter that application without proper authentication and authorization mechanism. So that is one kind of like security domain. So we have something called network security, right? So network security works at the network level, like where they have the firewalls and they have their own tools and techniques in order to protect the company's assets. Okay. So similarly, we have one domain in cybersecurity, which is identity and access management, which basically deals with data protection and compliance. So obviously, when we say compliance, we will also have audit in this. Okay. So basically, it's a domain. This IAM domain has multiple principles and there are different concepts within IAM. Okay, let's say we have something called IGA. We call as identity governance and administration. Okay. We have something called PAM. So PAM also comes under our IAM only. PAM is nothing but privileged access management. So privileged access management in the sense, if we have any special permissions, okay, if we have administrator kind of permissions for any user, there is a separate way to handle such kind of access. So this access will be managed through something called PAM. Okay, so in such a way, we have IGA, which is identity governance and administration. So within IAM, so this IGA is the specific concept that we are going to deal with our SailPoint IAM. Okay, so whenever we say IAM, it is not just the IGA or it is not just the SailPoint IAQ tool that we are using. So there are multiple other concepts as well, but IGA is one such concept that we'll be using, and all these together forms this identity and access management. And what we basically do here is we do handle the digital assets, digital data that we have, and we also monitor the level of access each user have in the organization, and will make sure that users have proper access that will not do any harm to the organization. And at the same time, we have to be compliant with some of the standards that are set. Okay, let's suppose we'll have some general guidelines imposed either by the government or either by the organization. So we have to make sure that we are following that to compliance with the standards they have set, to make sure that like we have better security for our organization. Okay, so this IAM domain basically works on some core principles. Okay, so we follow these core principles while implementing our SailPoint IAQ tool. Okay, so when we follow these core principles, it is one of the standards that is being set to ensure better security and better governance. Okay, let's understand what are these core principles that are being highlighted in the IAM domain, and we'll also see how this really helps. Okay, so one of the core principles our IAM domain works is least privilege. What do we mean by least privilege? Okay, so the term least privilege says that if we are providing access to any person, we have to make sure that we are only providing minimum access required for the user. Okay, for example, if I'm a developer joining the organization, I should only get access that is required by a developer. I should not get any access more than what is required for my role. At the same time, I should not get any access less than what is required for my role. Okay. Suppose I'm a developer. Okay. So as a developer, let's say I have access to Git repository. Okay. I have access to commit the code, but I should not have access to review the code. Code review will be done by like senior developer or someone, let's say. Okay, so this is the application, and within the application we have this. Let's say one is like adding the code, and the second one is reviewing the code. So as a developer, I will add the code, but I should not be able to review it, because a review job is something that needs to be done by someone senior to me, not me. Because if I do the code, right, if I add the code and if I approve the code by myself, then there is no proper process. I'll write the code, I will approve the code, then who will review it? There will be some issue, right? So that's why if I'm joining as a developer, I should only get access to add the code. Okay, so this is what is required. I should not get review, because this is something more than my required permissions. Okay, so whenever we are following least privilege, we have to make sure that we are providing only the access that is required, not more than what is required. And at the same time, as I said, we should not provide access less than what is required. For example, we have only given read-only access, and we have not provided access to add. Add access is not provided. In this case, this is also an issue, because as a developer, I have to write the code and I have to add the code to the system, right? So if I don't have the permission to add the code, my day-to-day work will not get done. So again, which is an issue. So that's why I should not get access less than what is required. At the same time, I should not get access more than what is required. So I should only get the minimum level of permission that is required to carry forward my day-to-day work. So this is what this least privilege principle explains. Okay, so whenever we are implementing our SailPoint IIQ, we have to make sure that we are following this least privilege principle. Okay, so it might not be like straightforward. We'll not be having a straightforward concept called least privilege, but during our implementation, we automatically implement this. Okay, so the tool has been designed that way, and the implementation scenarios has been designed that way to make sure to follow this least privilege. So this is one of the core principles of our IAM domain. Okay, so next to least privilege, we have something called zero trust. Zero trust in the sense, we should not trust anyone blindly. Okay, so we always have to follow certain process, and that whatever may be the process that we are following, that must be recorded in the system, so that we'll have a proof for each and every action that we have done. So for zero trust, we have something called approvals in place. Okay, for example, there is a new person in our organization, and the new person requested for certain access. Okay, so whenever that person requests for the access, we should not blindly provide the access. Okay, we will always go to the person's manager. We'll go to that person's manager and we'll ask the manager, boss, your reporting has requested for this access. So is it okay to provide this access or not? Okay, so once the manager approves, then only we'll provide the access. It means we are not trusting anyone blindly. If the person comes and requests for the access, like we are not going to trust him. So we are not straightforward giving access. We are following a workaround, and we have to make sure that an authorized person is confirming that the person needs access. So accordingly, like we are providing the access, and also we will record that activity in the system, so that in future, if someone comes and asks us like who provided access for this person, then we'll have a process in place, like we'll have the proof in place. We'll say like, okay, so we have reached out to this person's manager, this manager confirmed that his reported need access, then accordingly we have provided access, so that we have the record of proof, and we will also have a certain process in place. Okay, so this is what basically zero trust says. And also we follow something called data integrity. So whenever we say data integrity, it means whatever may be the data that we have, it is not damaged. Okay, so that is what data integrity says. So if we have any data, it should not be modified without proper permissions or without proper approvals. And at the same time, we have to make sure that this data is not exposed to anyone who is not supposed to see this, who is not authorized basically to view or access this data. So when we implement SailPoint, we deal with a lot of user data. And in some cases, we deal with some personal information also. So we call it as PII. When you say PII, it's called personally identifiable information. It means like the first name, last name, date of birth, uh, email address. Okay, if someone is from US, they might know SSN, social security number. So all these are personally identifiable information. We may deal with such information when implementing SailPoint IAQ. So we have to make sure that we are implementing the data integrity principle of our IAM. It means this data should not be viewed by people like who are not supposed to view that. At the same time, the data that we collect in SailPoint is not modified unnecessarily by unauthorized people. Okay, so we have to ensure that we are implementing this data integrity principle as well in order to have a like better implementation of our SailPoint IAQ. Okay. So in short, this is IAM, and to give a walkthrough in short, this is one of the subdomains of cybersecurity. Within cybersecurity, we have a lot of domains, and each domain deals with security in a different way, as we discussed in VAPT and also in our network security. Okay, we have something called a threat hunting. All of these are there, but IAM is one such domain, and within IAM, we provide security by following these core principles, and we provide security at access level. Okay, we mostly deal with access related security concepts. Okay, so this IAM, it's part of cyber security, and within IAM, like we are implementing SailPoint IAQ as an IGA. Especially within IAM, if someone asks like what is the exact thing you are doing, we are doing IGA. Got it? Any doubts or any queries in this?
No, Kalyan.
Okay. So if you have any confusions, if you have any doubts, always please feel free to interrupt me and ask your queries. Okay. So if you are not getting anything, please let me know quickly.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay. So first, we got to know about a brief intro on SailPoint, and we also got to know it's part of IAM domain, and we have also seen some of the core principles, right? First of all, why do we need SailPoint IAQ? So what is the purpose of SailPoint IAQ? Okay, so if you take any tool, okay, if you take any tool, for instance, it is basically used for solving certain problems. Okay, for example, if you take internet banking application, it's basically an app, right? It's a digital tool that we have. So if we take our internet banking application and if we understand the reason for its existence, if we try to question ourselves, like why do we need an internet banking application? Then let's imagine the kind of problems we have faced without that application. So let's say we don't have that internet banking application. So if you want to create a bank account, you need to go to the bank physically. You have to fill in the form. Like they will give you some form. You have to put all your details in the form. You have to attach your photograph. You have to submit some proof. And once you have given all the details, they will process it, and they may take some time. So possibly they may take 2 to 5 days to process that and create a savings bank account for you. Okay, so once savings bank account is created, they will give you a hard copy of your passport. And in that, you will see like how much money you have deposited. And if you want to have a record of what are the transactions done on your account, again, you need to take your book and you need to print it. so that you will see all the list of transactions. Let's say you want to like deposit some money, or you want to withdraw some money, you want to transfer some money. For each kind of like transaction that you wanted to do, you need to go visit the bank physically. You have to wait in the queue line, spend a lot of time over there. So this is what we basically do when we don't have the internet banking application. So there are a lot of problems. So there is a lot of time delay in creating your account, or whenever you want to perform any transaction, you need to go to the bank. Like you may be in some other place, but you may not be able to visit the bank, which may delay your work, right? So we have all these problems. So in order to solve these problems, they have introduced the internet banking application. So in internet banking application, by sitting at your home, you can fill in the information to create the bank account. You can submit your photograph. You can upload the photograph from your like mobile itself. You can submit your identity proofs from your mobile itself. You can upload it, and within few minutes, your bank account will be created. Okay. Let's say if you want to see all the transactions that you have done, on your fingertips, you can open the internet banking application. You can go through your statement and see the transactions. And if you want to transfer your money to someone else, like you can digitally transfer the money. So this internet banking application basically solved many of the problems. You no longer need to visit the bank. The amount of time that is spent for making any transaction is reduced. You have the convenience of like doing your transactions anywhere without visiting the bank. So these are the problems we have, and this is how the tool have solved our problems. Here, when we say the tool, the internet banking application has solved our problems. So similarly, the IAM world, the identity and access management world, was also facing certain problems. Okay. So in order to solve the problems, we have a technology in place which basically solves the problem. So that technology is nothing but the SailPoint IIQ tool that we are discussing. Okay, so let's understand what are the problems that the IIM world was facing, and let's see how our SailPoint implementation is going to solve those problems. Okay, so now we understood we deal with within IAM, at least we deal with identity and access management, and we know what do we mean by identity and access management. Okay, so let's imagine we don't have tools like SailPoint IIQ, and let's see how we will be like providing access to the users. For example, we have a new employee. Okay, a new person joined the organization. Okay, so we need to provide access to that new person. Okay, so the legacy way, without tools like SailPoint, the legacy way is once the user joins the organization and once he completes the onboarding process and all, we will have some ticketing tool. Okay, so where we'll go and create a ticket for certain kind of request. Okay, so we need to go to the ticketing tool and we have to raise ticket for the newly joined employee to get access. Okay, so let's say the newly joined employee need access in 3 applications. Let's say he need login access, he need email access, and he need access to learning and management portal. Okay, so login access basically to log into the system, email access for communication purpose, and learning management system for doing the initial trainings. Okay, so the newly joined user need access to these 3 applications. So the legacy way is we need to go to the ticketing tool and we have to create a ticket to get the login access. So we need to create another ticket to get the email access. We need to get another ticket to get the learning and management portal access. Okay, so each ticket will be assigned to a separate team. Let's say for login management, we'll have, let's say, a bunch of people, like 5 people who will take care of the login access for all users manually. So similarly for email and similarly for learning management portal. Okay, so whenever they get tickets, it takes some time. Like there will be a buffer time. They may take 2 days to provide the access, or sometimes they may take 10 days to provide the access because that is manual. And even when we are providing the access manually, there are a lot of chances for error. Let's say like we're creating your username, they might misspell your name. Okay, so they might create your login with improper permissions. So such manual issues may happen. Okay, so what is the problem here? Suppose we are onboarding an employee and we need to create the ticket, and the amount of time that it takes to work on the tickets is pretty much huge. Let's say on an average, let's say it takes 10 days to provide complete access to the newly joined user. Okay, here imagine the person has joined the organization, and for next 10 days he's idle. There is no work for him and he's not contributing anything to the organization. It means for 10 days the company is paying for the employee for free of cost without getting any services of the employee. It means here there is no productivity. So if any organization is paying money to any employee, they are paying in order to get some work done. But here the organization is simply paying, but there is no work being done. Obviously, it's a damage to the organization. It's a financial loss for them. They end up like giving money but not getting any work done. So there is no productivity here, and there are some financial issues as well here, if you observe. Okay, so this is one of the problem faced by the IAM domain. Okay, lot of time is taking for providing access to the newly joined employees, wherein the productivity is impacted and also there is a financial impact as well. Okay, so this is the situation, and this is one another problem. And at the very high level, let's imagine another situation where there is an existing employee. So this employee have access in, let's say, 7 applications. Okay, so if this person is leaving the organization, so let's say today is last working day of this user. So on the last working day, we need to remove access for this user on all the applications. Okay, so removing access is very, very, very critical. So if we don't provide access to the person on time, there is impact in productivity only. So just minute financial impact. But let's say if you don't remove access for an employee who already left the organization, then once the employee's last working day is done, then the employee no longer have any association with the organization. But even though if the user still have access to this organization, he can steal the data, he can steal the digital assets. Okay, let's suppose if it is any product company, then they can steal the blueprints of the company. Or if it is any financial company, they may like steal all the digital records. They may take all the records of the finance and they can expose it. Let's suppose if it is any sales oriented domain the person is working, he can basically steal all the leads that they have. Okay, such adverse impact may happen. So if we don't remove access for the user on time, the impact could be like data loss or financial loss, loss of reputation, and there are chances that the whole company may get shut down. Okay, so the impact will be that huge. So it is very important to remove access for the users on the last working day. And imagine removing access in this scenario. Let's say today is the last working day of the user and we need to create tickets. We need to create tickets to remove access, and we need to create 7 different tickets, each ticket for each application in which the user have access. And the ticket resolution may again take time. It may take 2 to 5 days. So in this situation, if today is the last working day of the user and we are raising the ticket today, for next 2 to 5 days, he is going to end up access. Okay, which is a risk. So in worst case, he can damage the systems. So he can delete the data if he has access. Okay, so we should not allow such actions to happen. So that's why if we don't remove the access on time, there are a lot of impacts. The impact could be huge. Okay, so it is very important to take care of it. And we may say, okay, so if today is last working day of the person, I will create ticket 10 days before. but that is not an option. Let's say if you create a ticket 10 days before, and if they have removed access like 5 days before the last working day of the user, then again, like we have impact on the productivity. So there may be some work that needs to be accomplished by the person, like some handover, some submissions will be there, but that will be impacted. So we cannot do that way. So we need a mechanism that correctly removes access on whatever the date that is required. So if we want to remove access on last working day, we have to track it and we have to make sure that we are removing access on the last working day only, not before that or not after that. So if we don't have any tools like SailPoint IIQ, so this is the situation. You can see the problems clearly. So one is the problem with productivity, where there is delay in providing access to the employees. And the second one is delay in removing access, and the impact here is very huge. And now we know the seriousness of the impact when we don't remove the access on time. Okay, so on a very higher level, so these are the some of the major problems faced by the IAM domain. Okay, so in order to solve these problems, we have tools like SailPoint IAQ. So by implementing SailPoint IAQ kind of tools, we are going to short the time that is taken to provide access to the users, and we are also going to make sure that we are removing the access only on the last working day. Okay, so that like will reduce the impact of the problems that we have discussed. Okay, so these are not the only problems that we'll be addressing with SailPoint IAQ, but there are multiple problems. Okay, so when we take the complaints part, we have something called access reviews. So access reviews is also an tedious task and time-taking task. And by implementing SailPoint IAQ, we have also redefined the way how the organization do the access reviews, and we have significantly saved a lot of time there. Okay, so this we'll discuss in detail how the access reviews were done previously without SailPoint when we come to the access reviews topic. But just giving a heads up, these are the not just only two problems that is solved by SailPoint IAQ, but there are many other problems. But just for an understanding why we need SailPoint IAQ tool, like we have this explanation. Okay, so in some interviews, like people if they try to analyze your understanding skills, like tool we can learn, we know what configuration we need to do, what option will be there, that we can learn anyhow, we are going to learn. But before that, we need to understand why we are using that, why we are using that tool. And we also need to understand like what problem we are solving and why we are using the tool. So that's why like we are going through all this process, so that we'll know what happens without IAM tool or without SailPoint tool, what will be the impact. Okay, so any doubts in this, or is there any confusion in this section that we have discussed?
No, Kalyan. I'm good.
Okay, so how about you, Shreya?
No, Kalyan.
Okay, so for you, Shreya, there may be some gaps because sometimes we use some terminology, or we do explain some process which will be more familiar for the people who are already working.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Yes,
few
Kalyan.
may not be relevant for you, but I'll try to make it as simple as possible, so
Oh,
that
sure.
you will get the understanding. So if you still have any confusions, you let me know. Okay,
Okay, Kalyan.
yeah, right. Okay, then, so with that being said, let's go to the next topic. So that is different IAM products that are available in the market. Okay, so we know what is this identity and access management and what are the problems these IAM tools are solving. And next to that, let's suppose if we have any problem, and if it needs a solution in terms of a digital tool, there will be multiple tools, right? Anytime there won't be a single tool for solving the problem. So we will have multiple tools. So similarly, what are maybe the problems that we have discussed here, right? So there are multiple tools in the market which basically solves this problem. Okay, so among the multiple tools, the tool that we have selected to learn is SailPoint IIQ. But we also need to understand that SailPoint IIQ is not the only tool available in the market which is solving these problems, but there are other tools as well. Okay, so it is important to understand the other tools so that we'll know the market, and we'll also know like who are our competitors and where we are standing, like what is our position relevant to our competitors. Okay, so let's understand the different tools that we have in our IAM domain. Okay, so we have a tool called OIM. It's called Oracle Identity Management. Okay, so this tool is from Oracle. We all know the Oracle company, right? It's a big company. They have many tools. They are offering many solutions. Okay, they have database solutions, they have cloud solutions, etc. So OIM is the solution from Oracle, which is developed to solve our IAM problems. Okay, one such tool. So this OEM has become legacy. So they have not updated the tool with what are maybe the latest requirements that we need. So that's why like most of the people are not using it, but still we have this tool available. Okay, so next to this OEM, we have something called CA SiteMinder. So this is one such tool. Again, it's an old one, not used much. It's from a same company called CA. Okay, so it is also used for solving our IAM problems in past. Okay, so we have another tool called Savient. So when you work with SailPoint, next to SailPoint, the frequent term that you listen in our IAM world is Savient. Okay, so this Savient, the company name itself is Savient, and the solution offered by them is also called as Savient. Okay, so this Savient is completely a cloud-based solution. Okay, and remember, this is one of the major competitors for SailPoint. We have something called Gartner's Quadrant. They basically list down all the IAM tools that are available in the market, and they'll give a ranking. Okay, so which tool is doing good, which tool is doing better, like which tool is not performing well, they will give a ranking. So in that ranking, SailPoint IIQ is leading. So the topmost tool in our IAM domain is SailPoint IIQ. And when you say what is the next one, it is Savient. So Savient will become one of the big competitors for us in future. It may become, but SailPoint, it always tries to keep up its pace. But just letting you know, this tool has grown like anything. Okay, so Savient is one another IAM tool that is available in the market. So this is one of the competitors for SailPoint. Okay, so next to SailPoint, we have something called ISIM. It's called Identity Security and Identity Management. So this ISIM is from a company called IBM. We all know IBM, right? So it's also a product-based company. They also have wide variety of products. Similarly, for our IAM domain, the product they have developed is ISIM. And this also has become a legacy tool. So it's one of the old tools, and even if we see the UI, it's pretty old, and the kind of services this tool is offering is also very minimal. So when compared to the real world IAM challenges that we have as of the current day, so it's not sufficient enough to like solve most of those challenges. So that's why like most of the people are not using this ISM nowadays. And even if someone has implemented ISIM in past, they are migrating to some new technologies like SailPoint IIQ. Okay, so next to this we have SailPoint IIQ. This we already discussed, and it is from a company called SailPoint. And we have something called Identity Now, and nowadays this Identity Now is called ISC, Identity Security Cloud. So they are just renaming this Identity Now to Identity Security Cloud, just for branding and promotion, and to enhance this purpose. Okay, so this Identity Now is also from a company called SailPoint. Okay, and this is also an IGA tool. It is also used for solving our IAM problems. Okay, so here we should have a question. We are saying SailPoint IAQ, which is our identity IQ, is from a company called SailPoint. And also this identity now from the very same company called SailPoint. And I have also said both the tools are used for serving the same purpose. Both the tools are used for solving the same problems. If it is doing the same work and if it is from the same company, then why should we have two different tools? So obvious, right? So why do we need to have two different tools if it is doing the same job? Okay. So here we need to understand the differences between our SailPoint IAQ and SailPoint identity now. Okay. So anyone aware of this identity now before, ISC before, or do you have any fair idea about this tool?
Yes, Kalyan, I heard about that identity now.
Yeah, okay. So what is this tool as per your understanding?
Yeah, it's a cloud-based tool. Yeah, I mean, it's everything is stored on a cloud platform. So yeah, so IAQ is on-prem solution, like it has a database and everything, but
Okay.
identity now, yeah, so it's a cloud-based solution, just like a
Okay.
Savient. Yeah.
You are right, absolutely right. And can you explain more about the differences between an on-premise application and a cloud application?
I'm not sure, Kalyan. I know about only this, like on-prem will store in a database, and but
Okay.
in identity now we have a cloud platform,
Okay.
and yeah, in SailPoint it's like a proper tool. IAQ is a proper tool where we can store the data, or we can do operations what we want, but it's a kind of cloud platform is totally different, but I'm
Got
not
it.
sure what the more
Yeah.
differences
No
about.
worries. No worries. So let's understand that in detail. So as you mentioned, one of the major differences between SailPoint IAQ and SailPoint Identity now is SailPoint IAQ is an on-premise application. Okay. Whereas this Identity now or Identity Security Cloud is a cloud-based solution. Okay. So let's understand difference between these two. And before that, let's understand what do we mean by on-premise and what do we mean by cloud. Okay. So whenever we say on-premise, okay, so every organization have their own servers. We call them as DCs. We call as data centers. So whenever we say data center, it means you might have seen the images, the server racks everywhere, right? So wherein they will host their own servers. So when we say on-premise, they will provide the installer. So whoever may be the product provider, so they will provide the installer. It is our responsibility to install the product. Okay, so we have to install it in any particular server. So within our data centers, we have servers. When we say servers, it is our own servers. The servers present in this data center, it is meant for our organization only. So it is within our organization's network. So we will install the application within our organization premises. Okay. And whenever any patching is required, whenever any upgrade is required, and whenever any maintenance is required for the application, we have to do that on our own. It means basically, when we say on-premise, from the team, from the person like who is providing the product, they will just give the installer. We have to install the product. We have to maintain the product. We have to make sure that the upgrades are happening on time. Everything we need to take care, and the data will be stored within our organization's network. When we install any application on premise, the scope of this application is within our organization. The data will be stored within our organization. Okay. So this is on premise. So when we say cloud, it's a kind of subscription model. We call it as SaaS. Shrey, I think you must be able to answer this question. So have you heard this term SaaS and you know what is the full form of it?
Yeah, actually,
If we take the cloud technologies, we'll have something called IaaS.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry, that's Kalyan.
IaaS.
Software as a server, infrastructure as a server. They'll SaaS, PaaS, IaaS.
Yeah. So here the cloud technology serves as a SaaS technology. When we say SaaS, as you correctly said, it's called software as a service. Okay. So when we say software as a service, what they do is they will not give the software to you for your installation. They will not hand over the complete product to you, but instead they will allow you to use this product. Okay, it's nothing but software. They're offering it as a service. They are not giving you the software. They're just allowing you to use it as a service. So this is nothing but software as service. So which is a cloud-based approach. Okay. So in order to understand this SaaS, simply, we all know Excel, right? We all know Excel, PowerPoint. These are some of the products from Microsoft. Okay. I can use Excel in my desktop, right? In order to use Excel in my laptop, what I need to do, I need to get the installer for Excel. So be it like Office Suite or be it anything. So I need to get that software first. I need to install it in my system, in my laptop. Then I can use this Excel. Okay. So it is nothing but on premise. So I need to install it. I need to update the key. If there is any update to this Excel, I need to do this on my own. Okay. For example, we are saying this is within our organization perimeter, right? Imagine I have installed Excel in my laptop. Okay, I have worked on it. I have created some data. Suppose if I log into your laptop, will I get the same data in your laptop as in my laptop? Is that
No.
possible? No, right? Because the Excel I have installed, this is local to my laptop. If I generate any data, if I manipulate any data, it stays within my laptop itself. Like this is the perimeter. My laptop is the perimeter for the product we are installing. So this is a good example of on-premise. Let's take the very same example. We have something called Google Sheets. Or if you are familiar, Microsoft also have the Excel available via browser. Okay, let's say Office 365. So within Office 365, we will have multiple tools. Okay. So once I log into Office 365, if I say like word.office365.com, something like that, I will get Excel within my browser. Have you used it anytime? Like even if you have Google, like we have docs.google.com, something like which will be available in our browser. Have you guys used it or can I show you like how it works? Okay, so let me log in and show you. Give me a minute. Let me share my screen again. So now I am using one cloud technology. It's called, you can see M365 cloud.microsoft.com. It means I have access and website, and within that I have something called Excel. So when I click on that Excel, you can see I'm able to access Excel workbook within the browser. Okay. So if I create any data here, if I do any manipulation to this browser and save it, this data will be stored in cloud. Okay. So here I have not installed Excel, but I simply accessed an service. So via my browser, I have accessed the service and I'm using Excel as a service here. And one another advantage here is like whenever I perform any activity, whenever I create any data, So right now I have logged in with my laptop and I have logged into Office 365 and I have created this Excel. And one fine day, if I log in from your laptop, I'll take your laptop. Within your laptop, I log in with my account. I log in with my Microsoft account. And once I access this service, once I access this Excel service via browser, again, I will get the same data. Okay, it means whatever may be the activity that I'm performing, it is not local. It is performed on cloud. And whenever we say cloud, it is not restricted to any device or it is not restricted to any particular domain. It is accessible everywhere. It is global. Okay. So same is the case with our identity now. So this identity now comes as a SaaS product. It means you need not to install it. You need not to upgrade it. You need not to maintain the application. Everything will be provided by the everything will be handled by the service provider. Here, SailPoint is the service provider. So they will take care of installations. They will take care of updates. If there is any issue with availability of the product, everything will be taken by SailPoint. What we do as an end user is to consume the service. So this is a software. Identity now is a software, but this software is not given to us for installation and use, but they're allowing us to use it as a service. So that is what we call as software as a service. So this identity now works that way. It works as software as a service. So we just subscribe to the identity now and we'll start using it. Okay. So the difference between these two is before getting started, we need to install SailPoint IAQ because this is an on-premise one, we'll only get the installer. So we have to do the installation, we have to do all the setup, and after installing and the setup, then only we'll be able to do the implementation for SailPoint IAQ. In case of identity now, you need not to do installation and all, like you can directly get started with your implementation because the product is already ready. It is just that you need to subscribe to the service. Okay, so this is the major difference. Okay, apart from that, apart from the way of implementation on-premise and cloud, one another difference is the SailPoint IIQ. It offers a lot of features for customization. So if you want to do any customization to our product, it's very easy to perform it on SailPoint IIQ. But in case of identity now, the customization is little difficult. But nowadays there are a lot of debates going on saying like customization on identity now is also simple. Such topics are coming up, but still it is not as easy as we are able to do with SailPoint IIQ. Okay, so depending on the customer's choice, they will go either for on-premise or they will go with cloud. Okay, so in our next session, we will also see based on what factors customers will take their preferences. So in between SailPoint IAQ and identity now, what are the points that customers consider in order to figure out which tool works apt for them? Okay, so for today, I'll stop the session here. And as we are running out of the time, I will take up your doubts in next session. Okay, so note down the doubts if you have any from the discussion we had so far and ask those doubts in tomorrow's session. And in tomorrow's session, we'll resume the topics from here. Okay. Are we
Sure,
good?
Kalyan.
Okay, guys.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining. We'll meet in next session. Bye.
Sure. Thanks.